She texted me in the middle of a crowded room. I'm not sure about us anymore. Don't make a scene. I was standing near the stage at the Riverfront Summer Festival, camera in my hands, sweat running down my back under a black t-shirt with my logo on it. Kids were dancing in front of the speakers. Couples were laughing. I was supposed to be capturing joy. My phone vibrated again before I even opened the first message. And then, like it was an afterthought, we'll talk later. I didn't look around for her. I already knew where she was. Olivia was near the bar tent, clipboard in hand, organizing volunteers from her yoga studio. And next to her, leaning too close, was Ryan, my best friend since high school. My barber. The guy who had keys to our house. I opened the message and typed one word. Appreciated. I put the phone back in my pocket and lifted the camera. Through the lens, I zoomed in. Olivia laughed at something Ryan said. His hand hovered near her lower back like it had learned the path already. She checked her phone. Her smile shifted, just slightly. Confusion. Not the reaction she expected. No call from me. No walk across the grass. No raised voice. I kept shooting. Later that evening, when the fireworks started and the sky cracked open with light, my phone buzzed again. Wait, what happens with the card? The fireworks were still exploding over the river when I read her second message again. What happens with the card? Not, are you okay? Not, can we talk? The card. Our joint credit card paid for her studio outfits, the new espresso machine in our kitchen, the weekend trips she said were for us. It was also the card Ryan used whenever he forgot his wallet at our place after cutting my hair at the dining table. I didn't answer. Instead, I switched lenses and moved through the crowd, keeping my distance but changing my angle. From behind the beer tent, I caught them again. Ryan leaned in close, his hand no longer hovering. It rested on her back like it belonged there. Later, while packing up my gear, I saw Ryan's name light up on her screen as she stood a few feet away from me. She turned slightly, lowering her voice. She said she would handle it. She said I was calm, which made it easier. That word stayed with me. Easier. On the drive home, she didn't call. Ryan didn't text me either. My phone stayed silent in the passenger seat. At a red light, I opened the banking app. I looked at the shared account. Then I requested a new card in my name only and scheduled the joint one to be deactivated. I did not block her. I just stopped financing the uncertainty. The next morning, Olivia moved around the kitchen like nothing had shifted. She poured green juice into a glass jar, checked her phone, typed fast, erased, typed again. My name didn't come up on her screen. Ryan's did. I was at the table with my laptop open, pretending to review festival shots. Instead, I watched reflections in the dark screen. Her smile was smaller than usual. Controlled. Focused. After she left for the studio, I stayed home. I logged into the shared cloud folder we used for client photos. Buried under a yoga workshop album was a short video clip, accidentally synced from her phone. It was dim, filmed in Ryan's barbershop after hours. Laughter. A mirror. Her voice softer than I'd heard in months. His hand on her waist, not hovering this time. There was no hesitation in the way she leaned in. I closed the file before it ended. Then I opened our phone bill. Late night calls. Long ones. Nights she said she was exhausted and went to bed early. Nights I edited photos alone in the living room. I didn't confront her. Instead, I called a venue coordinator I knew downtown and accepted a month-long contract shooting corporate events. Different crowd. Different schedule. By the time Olivia came home that evening, I had moved my equipment out of the studio she helped me get. She noticed the empty shelves. She didn't ask why. 2 days later, I stopped showing up. I did not announce it. I did not warn anyone. I just removed myself from the map. I left the group chat with our friends first. The one called Sunday Crew. No message. Just exit. Then I left the smaller thread Ryan and I had shared for years. The one filled with inside jokes and haircut reminders. By the afternoon, my phone lit up. Olivia asked where I was going that evening. Ryan sent a casual message about grabbing a drink. One of our friends asked if everything was okay. I did not answer. Instead, I packed a duffel bag and drove to a short-term rental loft downtown that I had booked that morning. Exposed brick, no shared memories. I transferred the rest of my savings into a separate account and updated my mailing address for new contracts. That night, Olivia called 3 times. Then 5. Her messages shifted from neutral to sharp. She said we needed to be adults. She said disappearing was dramatic. I let the phone vibrate on the kitchen counter of a place she had never seen. Later, a notification came through from the bank. The joint card had been declined at a restaurant near Ryan's shop. A minute after that, my phone lit up again. She asked what was going on. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the need to explain myself. The first crack didn't come from me. It came from Ryan. A week after I moved out, I heard through Marcus, another guy from our circle, that Ryan had been acting off at the shop. Distracted, snapping at clients, showing up late. The kind of shift people notice when a man thinks he won something and realizes it costs more than expected. I never called Marcus. He called me. He said Ryan mentioned that things were complicated now, that Olivia was stressed, that I was overreacting. I didn't defend myself. Instead, I sent a quiet email to a corporate client who had been considering switching barbers for their executive team. I attached a portfolio I had once helped Ryan build. I didn't say anything negative. I just mentioned I was available to handle event photography and coordinate grooming services through vetted vendors. A few days later, I heard that contract had shifted. Ryan lost his biggest steady account. I did not celebrate. That same evening, Olivia posted a photo from her studio. A quote about growth and hard seasons. Comments flooded in. Support. Hearts. Strength. Ryan commented with a flexed arm emoji. No one noticed I had stopped liking her posts weeks ago. Later that night, she sent a message. She said we needed to talk in person. She said this silence was cruel. I read it while exporting photos for a new client who had never met her. I left it on read. The shift became public without anyone naming it. Sunday dinner at Marcus's place went on without me. I saw it later in tagged photos. Same backyard. Same string lights. One chair missing at the end of the table where I used to sit. Olivia was there. Ryan too. In one picture, she wasn't smiling. In another, Ryan looked like he was explaining something to Marcus, hands open, shoulders tense. By the next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from Marcus's wife, Jenna. She said she hoped I was okay. She said the situation felt messy. I did not ask what she meant. That afternoon, Olivia showed up at the loft. I saw her car from the window before she knocked. She stood outside for a minute, looking at the building like it offended her. When I opened the door, she stepped in without waiting. She said people were talking. She said leaving the group chats made it obvious something was wrong. She said Ryan was under pressure at work and didn't need extra drama. I let her speak. At some point, she asked if I was going to embarrass her. I told her I had not said a word to anyone. That was the truth. As she left, her phone buzzed. Ryan's name lit up the screen. She silenced it quickly, but I had already seen it. For the first time, she looked unsure of which side she was standing on. After that visit, she started calling less. Not because things were calm, because they were not. Ryan began posting more. Gym selfies, late nights at the shop, quotes about loyalty and fake friends. The kind of noise a man makes when he feels watched. I stayed quiet. One evening, Jenna called again. She did not gossip. She just said Olivia had broken down at the studio after a class. Someone had asked where I'd been. Someone else had mentioned the declined card at the restaurant. The story had started moving without me pushing it. Olivia texted later that night. She said Ryan was stressed. She said I had put her in an impossible position. She said people were assuming things. I did not defend myself. Instead, I signed a 6-month lease on the loft and forwarded my remaining mail. I updated my business website, removing any reference to her studio. By the next week, my bookings were coming from a different crowd entirely. At the end of the month, there was a city arts festival downtown, bigger than the last one. I was hired as lead photographer. As I adjusted my camera near the main stage, I saw them before they saw me. Olivia froze first. Ryan followed her gaze. I nodded once, like I would to strangers sharing a sidewalk. Then I walked past them. I did not slow down. She followed me. Not immediately. She waited until I was alone near the side of the stage, checking exposure before the headliner went on. I saw her reflection in a black speaker cabinet before I heard her steps. She said we needed a real conversation. She said this pretending was immature. She said she never meant for things to go that far. I kept adjusting my lens. Ryan stood a few yards back, watching, not coming closer, not leaving either. Olivia's voice lowered. She said it started as advice. Late night calls about our arguments. She said Ryan understood her. She said it got physical only after she felt we were already drifting. I did not ask for details. She stepped in front of my camera, forcing me to look at her without the lens between us. Her eyes were red, but steady. She said she thought I would fight. She said she thought I would show up angry, demand explanations, pull her back. I told her I was working. That was all. For a second, she looked smaller. Not guilty, just unsure. Behind her, Ryan shifted his weight, like he wanted to claim the space but did not know how. The music started. The crowd roared. I moved around her without touching her shoulder and lifted the camera again. Through the viewfinder, she was just another figure in the frame. After the festival, the noise around them got louder. Ryan's shop lost another contract. Not because I said anything. Because clients talk and tension leaks. He snapped at a regular who joked about mixing business with pleasure. The clip made its way onto someone's story before disappearing. Olivia stopped posting quotes. Instead, she started calling again. Not long conversations. Short ones. She said she was tired. She said things with Ryan felt different now. Smaller. She said he was defensive, asking who she was texting, where she was going. One evening, she showed up at the loft again. No clipboard this time. No yoga bag. Just a plain sweater and eyes that looked like she had not slept. She said Ryan accused her of still caring about me. She said he felt like he had to compete with a ghost. She said this was not what she imagined. I let her talk. She walked through the space slowly, noticing how little of our old life was there. No framed photos. No shared furniture. No trace of her. She asked if I had already moved on. I told her I had moved forward. She nodded, like she understood the difference. When she reached the door, she hesitated. She said she thought she had chosen certainty. She said instead she felt exposed. I did not step closer. I did not step back. I just stood there, steady, while she realized I was no longer the man waiting to be chosen. A week later, she sent one last message. She said she had ended it with Ryan. She said it was a mistake that grew in the dark and looked different in daylight. She did not ask me to come back. She asked if we could talk without anger. I chose a public place. A quiet cafe near the river where no one from our circle went anymore. She arrived early. No makeup. No performance. Just Olivia. She said she thought I would chase her when she sent that first text. She said when I replied, appreciated, it felt like the floor dropped. She said the card question was panic, not greed. She admitted she had already crossed the line with Ryan before she told me she was unsure. I let her finish. People around us talked softly. Cups touched saucers. No one watched. She said she understood now that I had not disappeared. I had just stopped standing where I was not respected. That was the first time she repeated my silence back to me. I told her I was not angry. I told her I would not fight anyone for a place in my own life. I said if there was ever anything between us again, it would not be built on convenience or shared history. It would be built on choice. I stood up first. She did not try to stop me. This time, when I walked away, it was not to be seen. It was because I no longer needed to be.